Hi everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tell Me Why by Maddox. Today we have a very special guest. Neloo Naderi is a co-founder and CEO of Peace Unleashed, a mindfulness company. And we are so excited to have her on Tell Me Why today to dive into these questions and get to know a little bit more about Neloo.
Naderi.
Thank you so much, Neloo.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
I have to tell your audience, you guys, I've known Mathis for a long time, okay? And I'm like, why is it called Tell Me Why by Maddox? Did she change her name? Did she like become a citizen and change her name? No, dum-dum. It's Mathis and Alex Maddox. So I had to come true.
That was today's aha moment. This
like,
moment.
hello.
In case anyone else was wondering.
In case you were wondering, that's what it is.
Question, what was your first fear today?
First fear today, well, it happened about an hour before we hit rolling when Matthew said, what do you want? What do you actually want? And like, she knows what I want. She just wants me to say it out loud. And I shut down. But
she knows it and I know it and she was quiet. And I'm like, okay. And this what do you want is that what's your purpose? What do you want to do next in your life?
And you know those moments of transition that come up, and we were talking about it, how I tend to like tense up when that happens because uncertainty is very scary, it's very triggering for me, but I'm very proud of myself for staying in the flow.
Yes.
And just being okay with the shifting of the ocean.
So your first fear today was an hour ago?
First fear today was just saying out loud what I wanted, not knowing the how. I think that the fear comes from not knowing the how. It's like, how's that all going to happen? But we all know the how is not up to us.
Who is Neloo?
Neloo is a beacon of light. My heart is very open, and for so long I've been hiding, and I'm tired of hiding, and I'm inspired by the people around me who don't hide anymore, who used to hide and don't hide. And that is extremely inspiring. And I know I'm in such a good place because those things used to trigger me before. When I would see people in their light, I would feel less than, right? And there would be almost some envy because I wasn't living my full self. But now there's this excitement and feeling inspired and like rooting for these people because I know like that's where I'm going to.
Yes. Let's dive in. Are you ready?
Questions.
Let's do it. I can't wait.
Let's see what's your first question. Okay. Whatever
do I get to pick?
You pick.
Okay, there's one. I see the word, so I'm not going to pick that one.
Okay, no, you're gonna do it.
Mix it up. We're not cheating.
No, yeah. Okay.
Do I
Don't
pick,
read
do I like pull with my hand, with my mouth?
Yeah,
How
with
does
your
that work?
hand. Go with the hand if you want.
All right. Well, this one's just hanging out up here, so we'll go with that one.
All right.
Are we as human beings born with a sexuality?
All right.
Oh.
Like, is the question, how do I choose to show up in that way? My sexuality as Neloo, I identify as a female, as a woman, or what am I attracted to?
What you're attracted to.
Okay, because, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So do we at birth, well, the question was from birth. Do we know what we're attracted to?
Correct. So is
Okay.
it, because the society wants us to think that we all are heterosexual. And then the gay people, or let's say the trans, or they were born differently.
Right.
So it was a preset something that we came, like a kid who came to this world, some are heterosexual, some are bisexual, some are gay, some are lesbian. So the question is that do you believe that's the truth? That you come here as a given?
I do think you're born into it.
Okay. Tell us more about it.
And I think the way I rationalize it in my mind is that it shows up in nature. Like you see animals that are attracted to the same sex, or they're not. So like me personally, I was born female, and you know I would say I'm heterosexual. But I know plenty of people who have, from very, very early on, their earliest experiences have come from either same sex or it's across the spectrum, which I agree with you. It's we as humans are so much more complex than we try to understand ourselves to be. And I think like life, we want to put everything in a box because we want to understand it, but there's so much fluidity and complexity and nuance between all of us. But I do believe there's a natural instinct for us when we're born to be attracted to certain things and not certain things. So I would say yes, I think you're born with it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's part of what Neloo's saying. It is your it's your instincts, your nature, from environment, from atmosphere, but it's also at the end of the day that combined with your choice. You're choosing to be with men, women, trans, whatever, trees, whatever you want to be with it, you know? But it's a combination of both. Now, there are people who are attracted to, you know, men and women, but they choose to just be with men.
100%. And I think that's where my whole family is religious, okay? And they're all different types of religions. But the religion, it's like within religion, it's like it's known that people are born a certain way, but they ask you, don't act on it. And that's the choosing.
That's
right?
where the choice part comes in.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you rather never have to worry about money again or never be lonely again?
Ooh. Dun dun dun.
Oh gosh.
That's where the morals come in.
It's a tough question.
Okay, so I think before I would have answered never to be lonely again. But I've learned to not feel lonely as just by myself, because I think, like we said earlier, we are so vast. There's so much within ourselves that is there to explore. But there's so many buts.
I know.
But human connection, relationships helps us grow, helps us expand, helps us see parts of ourselves that we're not seeing, our shadows, our mirrors. Oh man.
Tough one, you have to pick.
Never be lonely again.
Never be lonely again.
Yeah, I think money, the energy of money, the way it flows in and out of your life can be you can attract that, and just like you can attract people. But I feel like when you're happy, when you're in flow, you can easily attract that. So I go with B. Option B.
Except,
do you guys also answer these, or do I just answer?
go with the answer. No, I want to see why she's like looking at me. I'm like, no, you're answering next.
I like this show.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we like you.
We like you too, yeah.
I originally would have chosen, Alex 10 years ago would have chosen money. Alex now would choose to never be lonely again. And that comes with growth and realizing that at the end of the day, human connection in general is the most valuable part of existence.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that, then the paper is nothing to me. So that's my answer.
I think we all are going to pick the same answer here. So money is absolutely important. We all know that if you don't have the money, if you're in the survival mode, we can never get to the higher level of the hierarchy of Maslow. But money's energy is transactional, and we are way more than that. Our depth is not based on the money. Unfortunately, we are slave to money, and our superpower is getting the money's overusing it. But connection is definitely something that you can experience only by just being with someone that you really feel connected. So if I have to pick between just being with someone without money and live in the streets really, and I have love, I would pick that. I know it's bold and crazy, but the moment of the experience I have with Alex, that is just in the house with no money around there, is something that I would not change for millions of dollars.
All right. Who writes these? Okay.
We don't know.
Why do more men hire a prostitute than women?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. We are generalizing
Do we have the statistics
here.
on that?
I know, yeah. Do we have the data?
Well, think about it.
Again, go on.
We don't have data, but if you think about media stories going back to ancient times, brothels were created so men could go in and be with women. In movies, men hire women.
Yeah.
So
You don't
When
see
you
that
think when
very
you think of the word prostitute, you immediately think of a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Like
Very true.
right? Like, I mean,
very true.
that's where our
I
mind
do,
goes.
but I actually think of of sadness.
No, correct, but it's a woman.
But it's an
You don't
attractive,
think
an
about a
attractive
prostitute,
woman.
you don't think about a
And-
man. We
But
don't think
again,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things we've conditioned, and I agree with the brothels and the whorehouses.
Yeah.
But I also know, like, ancient Rome, the men had male lovers. They had younger men as their lovers, but it wasn't so like, it wasn't seen as prostitution. They were like side play, you know, or mashouk. How do you say
how come-
mashouk in English?
Lover.
Yeah.
Is there a word for mistress?
Mistress?
Mistress, yeah.
How about the male version of it?
Mister.
Mister. Mister.
Hello, mister.
See, that's even a word
We don't
like
even
that.
talk about the
You don't
mistress.
even have a
We
mister.
only talk
You
about
have a
mistress.
mistress.
How can we,
Gigolo.
so why don't we? But why doesn't society talk about women hiring men? You said men and men, but you didn't say.
We don't talk about it, but I think it's somehow we've objectified women to be hired and used for sex.
Right.
So it hasn't been so much with men, but there are male prostitutes.
Yes.
Why do you
That's
think
true.
it's not so much about the prostitution? Of course, it's just that, but it's just more of like men are more out loud about sexual experiences and
Their
having
basic
sex
sexual
and-
needs.
Yeah, then
and
women
women
are.
are
Because
like,
when a woman because again, back in the day, when a woman talks about it, oh, she's a whore. If a guy talks about it, he's just, you know, he's spreading his seed.
Spilling his with his golden dick.
that's a Persian one.
I know. The Persian prince.
There has been a shift in storytelling in terms of women leading in general. So what comes to my mind with this topic is the movie Miss Sloane, which is played by Jessica Chastain. She's a politician in DC. She's a political leader. And there's a scene where she goes into the hotel room and there's a man laying on the bed and she says, I have cash in an envelope on the table. Let's get to business. And I think it was just fascinating for the first time in Hollywood that I've seen this dynamic shift of the man sitting there. He had a six-pack. He was very good looking. But she said, I'm in control. I'm hiring you and I'm okay with letting the world know that I have these sexual needs. And that's something, because we are seeing this shift, you know, I think we are making progress, but it's not talked about enough.
We don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
Women do not talk about it. It's just we don't even talk about the sex itself with the partner. It's like, I think it's more common for men to talk about it, about their sex, their sexual life, their orgasm, and how many girls do they get, but women don't do it. Like I don't remember asking you when was the last time, Neloo, you had sex.
Should I disclose that?
Should disclose that. You're more than welcome to do that.
No
but we
filters.
don't talk about it. Women don't talk
I've
about
never
it.
had sex. My dad's watching. I've never had sex in my life.
We all are virgin.
Why do religions want us to believe this life is a temporary life and we should prepare for the real life in heaven or hell when we have no proof? So I think of life, I think of any moment as temporary, like whether it's in this physical life or in the non-physical. But I think the question is kind of asking something else.
Yeah, so the question is just like the religions, all of them are coming and telling us that there is a heaven and hell.
Yeah.
So you have to be good, do good, and say good until you get to that heaven and hell.
Yes. There's like you almost have to like pay your dues here.
Yeah. So you came here temporary and we are watching you. Like, then you're going to heaven and hell.
Yeah, I think that we have misunderstood religion. I mean, we've humanized it, so we added error to it. I think you don't believe in God anymore.
No, I don't believe in God, but I respect all the religions.
I believe in a higher
She
power.
just believes
Higher
me.
power.
Yes.
Okay, so she what? She believes in
She
you?
believes in me.
Mad at her ex. Okay, so then I think that we've tried to make God or the higher being in our own image and how we understand it. And so as humans, we put conditions on everything. So then there's conditions on this life. You have to live a certain way in order to upgrade and be with God, or be with this higher entity, where we can just be with them now. And I also believe in reincarnation. I believe our soul continues beyond this physical body, and it's really the soul's journey versus this human life's journey. This is a part of that soul journey. So having that perspective makes everything so much easier, because then I don't get attached to like, I have to make this life perfect in order to get to the next level.
So what is that next level though?
The next level in religion is you get to finally be in heaven and have all your needs met.
Would you like that?
But
would you like it?
I don't believe in that. I believe that it's a continuous soul journey, and that we are.
So there's no end.
I mean, the end is that reconnection with source, but I'm saying that you can have that connection now.
Correct.
In this life.
Correct. And it's just, these are just topics that I can go about them hours and hours, and then it's like I come back to the same circle here, right? It's just that if, let's say there's a heaven, and you get to the heaven, and you drink wine every day, and you have 70 angels in your hand, and you really are living in happily ever after, everything is beautiful, when will it end? If it's just repeating the same thing. Like imagine every day you wake up and then you have nothing to do. You just eat and drink wine.
I know, but I think even that, we're looking at it as a human
mind.
So like as a human, that would get boring.
Right.
But I think we're energy, we're these energetic beings. I don't think we would have those same. I think we have to look at it differently.
It wouldn't be the same
we're not,
experience as a human versus an energy that's.
So let's get back to the reincarnation.
Yeah.
Reincarnation.
Yeah.
So
I also believe in reincarnation.
Believing in reincarnation, right? So you believe that there was a rule, there is a reason, there is a higher reason for us to exist here, correct?
Yeah.
So it means that we come back to this world again and again and again and
or
again.
to other worlds.
Other worlds, in whatever form, until we clear something. What's the purpose of this?
It's that, so in everything I've read and what I believe now is that there was an initial separation from source, because we wanted to also create. We wanted to experience being the creator.
So we made the mistake.
I don't think of it as a mistake. Okay. I think it's wanting to have that experience of creation. I struggled with that for a long time, because I would say I didn't want to separate, because I would struggle with the physicality of life, like the struggles of life. But when I start to look at it as this is actually a gift, your time anywhere in the physical is a gift to create. Then I looked at it very differently. Then the contrast that you're experiencing just allows you to create with more clarity. Like even in physical life, when we create, there's a joy in creation, like creating a meal, creating a show, creating relationships, right? Now I imagine that like on a much grander level, being able to create a life, come into this world and have a physical life. But I think there's creation that happens in the non-physical too.
So what I'm hearing, understanding is that there was a source.
There is a source.
There's a source. there is a source, and we got separated from the source because we wanted to explore creation. Now, because we got separated, we have to pay our due. So we have to really go and come back and go and come back and go and come back and go and come back until we really get to because I think that's the belief, right? That you get to the high level, that you no longer exist, or you're everything and you're nothing.
Dr. Joe.
Yeah.
So it means that there is this intelligence which is making this rule. So there's still a joker who created this universe who is saying that you get separated, you come back to this world and the other world, and then you have to redo again and again and again until you clear your pain and suffering, and then you come back to the source. So it means that the intelligence still is a game player.
That's one perspective to have. Right now I'm reading Brene Brown's book, Atlas of the Heart. And she talks about the emotion of anxiety and the emotion of excitement. And they're essentially two sides of the same coin. And depending on how you experience it is based on how you perceive it and how you label it. So when someone is in a place of uncertainty, it can feel anxiety because they're like, where's my next meal gonna come from? Or it can feel exciting that, oh, my next, anything can happen. There's this potential, right? So, and I think it's thinking of it as a game, that you're a pawn in this grander entity's game. In my opinion, I just put my hand on that.
Okay, yeah.
In my opinion, is a perception.
Yeah.
If you could step out of Neloo for one day
Yes.
and be
With the help or without the help of mushrooms.
without the help of mushrooms or ayahuasca,
Okay.
and you could be someone else for a day, if you could just literally step out of
Lady Gaga.
Why?
I've always wanted to be a rock star, pop star, singer. I think singing is the most vulnerable way to express yourself. It's like, it's part of your throat chakra. You're sharing something you're creating from deep within out into the world. When I see her on stage, I like viscerally feel her.
Aww.
And our birthdays are like a day or two apart. If I could reincarnate as Lady Gaga in the next life, I 100% would. Like her ability to sing, to create music, to dance, to connect through, now she's acting.
Oh, and she's an amazing
actress.
Yes.
Hands down.
Everything.
That is.
Way she pours her soul in.
Was that your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lady Gaga.
Like, it's like, no, that like for me, that's.
Which, by the way, needs to be on this show.
Who would you want to be?
Who would I want to be? It would be Justin Timberlake.
Justin Timberlake. Why Justin Timberlake? Also a singer.
Yes, a singer. The way that it's so many elements. He was raised by a single mother, and from the age of 3, he picked up a guitar and he poured his soul out, not knowing how to read music or how to play an instrument. He started singing. And from there, he tapped into other art forms that enhanced his singing, from comedy to acting to stand-up. And he's a creator. He's a creator, and he doesn't allow influence to dictate his artistry. He's failed so many times in things that he's done, from writing music, but at the same time, it wasn't considered a failure to him. It was a learning lesson. And I just know this because I'm a really big fan of his, but I would 100% trade shoes and be him for one day. Also, he's a phenomenal dancer. I like to dance, but he is limitless on stage, and it's the same thing with Lady Gaga. She just pours her entire soul out, and he does the same thing, and I admire that more than anything.
I don't know the answer. I'm like trying to see everyone's gonna look at me to answer this. What was the question? If I could
just step out of Mathis for a day and be someone else, who would it be? And why?
It's a kind of difficult question.
I don't want to influence you.
She wants to be God.
I think so.
Yeah.
You read
Wow.
my mind.
Yeah. I was either going to say God or Sadhguru.
I'm like, totally. I'm like,
Answer the question.
which one do I have power? I'm like thinking, if I said President of United States of America, can I close all the mosques and temples and the police stations? Like, I want to create an anarchy. So whatever that.
You want to create anarchy. Are you sure the Joaquin Phoenix Joker is not your favorite Joker?
You didn't finish it.
I didn't finish
Yeah, you haven't seen all of it.
It's just that I feel like the survival of the best, we need to go one more time to anarchy to create the best of us. So, which is going to be in a very much more meaningful version of us.
So your answer to her question brings a joke to my mind.
Go for it.
So these three people, a manager, a receptionist, and like a business associate, analyst, go to lunch, and they're walking back from lunch, and they meet a magic genie. And the magic genie said, I will grant you each a wish. And so he asked the assistant, the receptionist, what would you like? And he says, I want to be on a beach in Fiji with my partner and just tanning and drinking pina coladas. And he's like, okay, done. And he disappears. Then he asked the business analyst, and she says, I want to be on the next SpaceX rocket and go tour the moon and take my life there. And then he's like, poof, you're gone. And then the manager said to the manager, what is your wish? And he's like, I want those two back at their desk in 10 minutes. And so it's you. And so the reason that came to mind is like, her question is, if you could be in that person's shoes for one day, what would you do? And would the anarchy happen in one day, and would the world completely change?
Goodness.
And is someone going to reset it the next day? Like,
I know, it's funny that I was also
Doctor
thinking,
Strange.
as you were saying, I'm thinking that if the genie asked me, I would say I want to be the genie.
Granting wishes.
I would say I want to be you.
And granting people something about you want to grant people their wishes, like that
It's
feels
more
good to
of
you.
like I want to just make some mess, like create some.
You just want to create chaos.
Create chaos.
Be Joker.
Just I would be perfect for Joker or Matt for us. Give us one promise. You want to promise something to Neloo. Neloo has fears, like all of us we do. And we want you to to promise something to yourself, and to us, to yourself, and to our viewers.
Yeah, I promise to not hide anymore. And if anyone watching knows me, that's a really big promise. And I like making statements out in the world because that holds me more accountable. I said this before off camera, but like you showing up as your most authentic self, Lady Gaga showing up as her most authentic self, is very inspiring because I don't think people need permission to be themselves, but it feels good to have an example in order to give yourself permission.
And what does that mean for you to not hide anymore?
Not hide to me means not compromising anymore on things that are like deal breakers in life. You know, this life is precious. As temporary as the moments are, it is precious. Me as Neloo in this physical body, in this physical time, is never going to happen again, right? Same for you, same for you. And creating the most beautiful life you can while you have the opportunity to do it. Why? Knowing, if you know that, why would you spend one more second doing something that doesn't bring you joy, that doesn't uplift you or uplift those around you?
One thing you want to do before Nowruz that shows that you are not hiding?
Nowruz is March 21st. It's the spring equinox. So today, am I dating
February
this?
12th.
Are we dating this? It's going to be aired a little bit later, but it's February 12th. Okay, so I got like 6 weeks.
Mathematics, like logical brain. It's just like, what can I do? What can I not do? Just what's possible. Forget about the how. Just saying that one thing you want to do.
Yeah. It's the integrity piece. I want to make sure I can actually do it. And okay, one thing. Okay, so I have this idea that I want to pitch to Hay House. Do you know what the Hay House is? Hay House is a publishing company. They publish the biggest publishing company for personal development content. I think I would be their ideal person to interview all their authors for their shows. They have a Hay House Summit every year. They do events all over the world. And
as you're saying, I'm having goosebumps.
I know. I'm feeling it too. And it's something with Peace Unleashed. We have had author interviews without having any like pool. I've been able to get world-renowned authors to come and speak to our book club for free. And I can just only imagine what I can do with the name Hay House behind me. That is something that I've been kind of sitting on, the idea, and like not knowing how to approach Hay House, what's the right in, the how, right? And where I'm surrendering it, the right how, the right next step, the right opportunity is going to present itself, and I just need to be ready.
So you're ready right now. What are you going to do? Are you going to
I'm
reach
going
out to
to
them?
take that action.
You're going to reach out. We put
Wait,
the three together.
We gotta stamp it. We gotta stamp it.
Hey House, we're coming for you.
Hey House.
And we're going to interview you when you're going to be doing the job.
Yes, I will come back here and we'll circle it back, and then Mahdis and Alex Maddox is going to write a personal development book, and I will have them on Hay House to author interviews,
I wrote a
author
book
series.
about the chaos and anarchy. We love you, and all we want you to do is ask yourself why.
In this precious life, this precious life.
This precious life that is someone toying with you.
We'll be back.